Social proof in the form of case studies, testimonials, and reviews is one of the most powerful marketing tools at your disposal. Nothing influences leads and prospects like seeing what other people like them think about the service that you offer. So you should be gathering social proof all the time. And what I'm going to tell you now will make you collect it with even more urgency because the power of social proof does degrade over time. Hey, I'm Paul Green, and don't forget, for all the content, tools and training to market and grow your MSP, check out MSPMarketingEdge.com. Now let me give you a real-life example of how social proof degrades over time. If you've been a listener to this podcast or been watching my videos for a while on YouTube, then you'll know that for an 18-month period, I had a fairly major refurb of my house. And it was quite an experience which ended in Christmas last year. It actually generated loads of content for this podcast and for the videos as I dealt with my frustrations with the builders and just the whole process in general. Anyway, I am getting counselling for this now and I'm slowly getting over it. But one of my final frustrations with my builder was that they didn't complete the tiny little finishes that make a job perfect. They finished like a day before Christmas and it was a rush job to get stuff done. So, for example, I had a couple of doors that really needed just one more coat of paint. There's a little bit of pointing missing, or grout or whatever you call it, like the cement stuff between tiles. Anyway, I've had a kind of a succession of handymen in to fix these little jobs in the last couple of weeks and finally just get the house completely finished. There was one big job as well, and that needed to be done. It was checking the fire. So we're very lucky to have like a log burner in the house. It's lovely. It's been here for a while. And during the build, the builders removed the log burner and then they reinstalled it again near the end. And I was a little bit skeptical that this was safe. So I paid for a local expert to come and do an assessment of the chimney and the fire installation. And I'm not going to go into the details of what was wrong. Let's just say I'm glad that I had an expert check it and do the remedial work before I ever lit a fire. So I then hired some experts to come in and just make it all safe, to do whatever it was they did that made it safe, and it actually made it more energy efficient as well. And as I say, I don't know what they did, but we can now have a nice fire. There's no danger of burning the house down. And also they cleaned up the whole log burner and they made it all look great. And when I inspected the finished work, I said to the owner of the business, because it was him who'd been here working on it, I said, "Wow, you've done a really great job. Thank you so much for that. Look, will you whiz me over a link to your reviews? And of course, I'll happily leave you a review or a testimonial." Now, this was about 4 weeks ago that he was here. And as of this time of recording, he still hasn't emailed me over that link. And I suppose I could just look him up myself on Google Reviews or something. But when you're doing someone a favour by leaving them a review, you know, I shouldn't have to be doing all the hard work, should I? Let's be honest, if I wasn't talking about it right now, then it wouldn't even be in my head. Now, even if you sent me the link, or even if he sent me the link today, I wouldn't actually leave a review. I've changed my mind in the 4 weeks since they did the work. And what has changed? I'll tell you. My satisfaction with their work has gone down. Now, this is no reflection on the work that they've done. They did an amazing job, but the joy and the delight that I felt at that exact moment that he handed over the completed job to me, well, that's kind of gone. And in fact, since then, I've had the pain of having to pay their bill, which has diminished my pleasure. Does that make sense? So the pleasure has subsided, but the pain has gone up because I've had to, the pain of paying. And there are also a couple of tiny little niggling things that I spotted in the days after they were here. There was a little mark on the rug where some soot had got onto the rug, and there was just a sort of a tiny bit of damage just in the fireplace. Not something I'm ever going to notice, but it was these tiny little things which reduced my pleasure. It reduced my desire to give them social proof. And this is why social proof degrades. You have to collect a testimonial or a review from someone at the exact moment that they are their happiest with you. The good news is we know when these points are likely to be for MSPs. So, for example, if you've just fixed a long-standing and annoying tech problem, they will be delighted with you at that exact moment and will give you a great review. If you just successfully completed a big project, get the social proof, right? If you've just started working with a new client and it's the first 90 days and you've made their lives better because you're more responsive and you've got things done compared to their old MSP, but they haven't yet got used to you. You know what I mean? You're still new and shiny. It's the honeymoon phase. This is a great time to ask them for a testimonial or a review. I think the answer to this like the answer to most marketing problems, is to turn it into a system. So you've got a checklist for when you do a project, right? So why not add a final tick box onto the end of that checklist whereby you contact them to go through the work, look at what you said you would do, look at what you've done, check they're satisfied, and then ask them to do a review. And literally, as you put down the phone, you send the review link to them like 3 seconds later. Another way to systemize this would be to add, like customer thermometer or one of those other feedback systems. You add that onto your ticketing, so every time a major ticket is closed and they get the closed ticket notification, they can click on a smiley face or a non-smiley face, depending on how happy or unhappy they are. And of course, the smiley face takes them through to a review platform, whereas the non-smiley face asks them for further feedback, so you can get involved and find out why they're not so happy. And there's a reason that those go in ticket closure notifications, because there's no point asking them 6 weeks later, right? Because they'll have forgotten. It's diminished. It's degraded. What I'm trying to say here is that social proof expires quickly, and you need to harvest it while it's at its freshest and most powerful.
Paul Green's MSP Marketing Edge.